News Channel 8 presents New Skills for Living with your host, Tom Lavin, a healthy plan for healthy living.
Hello and welcome to New Skills for Living, a show dedicated to healing and wholeness in our community. If you're interested in learning how children and families can positively address autism and obesity and other life challenges, you'll want to watch our show today. Our expert guest today is Dr. Nanni Presti, who is a Fulbright scholar, a medical doctor, a clinical psychologist, a behavioral analyst, and director of the behavioral medicine programs in both Catania and Milan, Italy. Our guest today, Dr. Presti, will discuss how he and his colleagues use behavioral science and acceptance and commitment therapy principles to increase wellness for parents and children and adults. He will share how some models are used to treat individuals with autism in Italy and how that might be useful to us here in the United States. He will discuss how acceptance and commitment therapy can be used to empower families to lead more fulfilling lives and more effective lives. And we'll also spend time discussing some of the projects that he has pioneered in Europe and in California in helping children who suffer from obesity. So, Dr. Presti, it's so great to have you here for our show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Tom, for inviting me. I'm really honored to be here.
Well, thank you. So I guess the first thing I'd like to ask you is the work that you and your team are doing with autistic children in Italy. Can you share with us, you're working with them, I believe, in the clinic and at home, and can you talk with us about this project?
Oh, this is a very exciting project. Italy, the situation of Italy, it's really a bit different from what you get here in the States. We have a structure that is provided by the national health system. So the national health system takes care of the autistic child. So when you have a diagnosis, it's really important that the diagnosis is made by the national health system because from that point on, the child has rights to receive certain kind of treatments. However, the national health system, unfortunately, at least up to now, does not provide any applied behavior analysis intervention. So what we are doing is that to provide behavior analysis intervention, which is the most effective treatment shown up to now to deal with autism. You don't cure autism, but you can do many things for these children and to bring them back to the place where they do belong. So what we do, we devised this program which is called MIPIA. It's an Italian acronym for Early Intervention Model for Autistic Kids. And this program brings applied behavior analysis directly to the home of those kids and to the schools. One thing that it's different here is from here in Italy is that all special schools, all special education schools were closed 30 years ago. So each child with special education needs, and these include also autistic kids, is included in the normal curriculum and the normal school. So what we do is to bring also in the school, our specialists work with the teachers and the special education teacher in programs with the kids. So this is what we call MIPIA, and it's an early intervention program. So we try to start very, very early, around 3 if we are lucky.
That's wonderful, yeah.
If we are lucky, because we know that the earlier we start, the better are the possibility of having results there. And now, one thing that is important for us is that we do not want to have a specific center because Italy is very scattered. And what we want to do is to provide services where the kid is.
Yes.
So we don't want people to travel, let's say, from south to north, go to Milan, make these long travels. We have a long history of traveling for health reasons, and we do not want to do that.
I see.
And by the way, by raising the kid there, you also contribute to the culture of the group and the school.
Sure.
And this is important to raise a culture of science
sure.
science-based intervention.
Sure. Now, maybe in the final minute or so, could you talk with us a little bit about how you've been using acceptance and commitment therapy with this population?
All right. It's important for us to make these kids flexible and their parents very flexible. So what we do is that we incorporated acceptance and commitment therapy in working with parents so that there is a flexibility in the way they work with the kids and the way they deal with issues that are related to kids, which are very painful issues. So we do not want them to be stopped by the memories of these pains, by the sorrow they bring them. We would like them to work joyfully with their kids, and this is where acceptance and commitment therapy is very useful for.
Oh yes, it certainly is. We've got another brief bit of time here. When you're working with the families, Nanni, what are you looking for? What are you hoping will happen?
Usually families have deep sorrows. They come from a history of misdiagnosis, problems, trying to find a solution for their kid. So what we want them to do is to open their eyes to the kids. Sometimes they don't look at the kids because that brings them very painful memories. So we want to work with them.
Okay, well that's very helpful, and we appreciate what Dr. Presti has shared with us, and after this brief break, we're going to explore this further. Hello, and welcome back to New Skills for Living. We're talking with Dr. Nanni Presti about how children and families deal positively and constructively with autism. Dr. Presti, would you go ahead and continue and talk with us about using acceptance and commitment therapy with families that are challenged with autism?
One issue when you deal with families is that they are dealing with a very big problem. And they bring with them this problem everywhere, every time. So they look to their life from the point of view of this problem. They try to control it, they try to control their sorrow, they try to control the pain that comes from it. And this brings them to points of inflexibility. And inflexibility means also losing contact with the simple things of life. I mean, there are mothers that don't go to a hairdresser anymore. They don't go shopping anymore. They don't stay with her husband anymore. So, and the couples sometimes split because the two, the husband and the wife, don't look at them anymore.
Yes.
So what we want to do is to bring them back to life. It's a very challenging thing that we would like them to do, and we work for them to do, because they have a need for their own spaces, they have a need for their life. And from this point of view, they are more flexible with their child. Yes. They look to their child differently, and they are able to operate on to work with their child.
So I guess, Nanni, what you're saying is that through the use of acceptance and commitment therapy, parents deal with their grief and their anger and their sadness, and then when they do, they're more therapeutic with their children. Does that kind of open up the autistic child to a degree, do you believe?
Oh, yes. We are trying to collect that and that. But definitely, you can see that parents are so angry with this kind of situation. Sometimes it's so painful that they don't look at the child. And in this situation, they don't provide the child with the necessary social cues that are important, social and cognitive cues, that are, and also emotional cues that are important for bringing back the child to their normal life. And by doing this with acceptance and commitment therapy, we are able to direct this eyesight on the child. They look at this child, because sometimes they don't want to look at the child, because by looking at the child, all this grief comes on. So that's important for us, and it's important for the therapeutic part too.
So along with treating the parents, I guess, in couples therapy or in parents therapy.
Yeah.
Do you also treat siblings? Do you do family therapy?
Oh, we try to bring also, if there are kids in the family, we try to bring them to working with their brother or sister. But see what happens, kids, the siblings have less artifacts, less cognitive artifacts. They take the situation of their brother or sister, let's say, for granted. I mean, it's not the word.
They're already into acceptance.
Yes, yes, they are already there. So they work more easily.
I see.
But this does not happen with adults. They have developed such a language. They have spoken so many times about their children.
Yes.
That they are more rigid. So it's the works with their siblings more easily done than with parents. It seems a paradox, but it's there.
Yes. This is very interesting, and time is going very fast. After this brief break, we're going to continue to talk with Nanni about his work with autistic children and their families. Hi, welcome back. We're talking with Dr. Nanni Presti about challenges that children and their families face. We were talking earlier about autism, and Dr. Presti was talking about how it really overwhelmed the family and how we used acceptance and commitment therapy to help the parents and the work that they're doing through behavioral analysis with the children. We're going to transition now, though. We want to talk about obesity with children and this project that you're involved in. It's called Food Dudes.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure the kids love that.
Yes, they do love.
Yeah. So can you tell us about this project,
All right.
please?
The project was originally developed and studied in the UK, actually North Wales, by Fergus Lowe and the group there at the University of North Wales in Bangor. Now the project has been studied for 10 years, so there are all the components have been studied specifically. And by chance, there were people from the Ministry of Agriculture in Ireland that were interested in the project, and so the project is now rolling out all over that country. And 2 years ago, I was interested in this project because I try to fight obesity in adults and children in Italy. And I have this good friend, which is Fergus, and we worked to create an Italian version of this project. And the Italian version is now running in Sicily, thanks to support from the regional government there. It's a very unique program. It's a program which is based on 3 principles: modeling, continuous testing, and rewards.
Okay.
So the kids, usually it's targeted to kids from kindergarten to elementary school. The kids are shown a video with these characters, the Food Dudes, which are 4 superheroes, and they fight against General Junk and the Junk Punks. That they want to conquer Earth and delete the vital force of Earth. So the kids learn by these, from these superheroes how they can fight General Junk, and they usually eat fruit and vegetables to get the force. And then they are on a mission. The superheroes send them letters. The letters are read in classroom by the teachers. And they are on a mission on behalf of the superheroes. So we provide them with a very, very tiny, small portion of fruit and vegetables. They eat the fruit and vegetables, and we give them a rewards. So all this stuff goes on only for 16 days, which is the most critical important, because biological studies have demonstrated that you need continuous sampling of your food to like it. So you need at least from 12 to 14 times to test it so that you like it. It's only a biological stuff that goes on. So we just provide them for 16 days, and from the 16th days on, we ask them to bring fruit and vegetables from home. So we provide them with a small lunch boxes, and they bring fruit and vegetables. So in Italy, we do not generally we do not have cafeterias, and the child don't eat lunch at school. So they bring lunch from home, and we substitute. We have very nice data that demonstrate we were able to substitute junk food, prepacked food, all that kind of stuff that usually it's not wealthy. Wealthy for the children. Yes. They substitute it with fruit and vegetables. And so in this sense, we create a culture of eating fruit and vegetables. When you start the program, you see that child don't like fruit and vegetables, and when you finish the program, they are very, very happy, they like it, and they trade it. So you have some sort of stock exchange in the classroom. They come with their boxes and say, I give you 15 peas, you give me a carrot, something like that. It's very joyful,
that's
the
great.
kind of the things that you see in
That's
classroom.
Great. And you've seen success then in Italy and then in California, where children's obesity is declining?
What we are trying to watch is to follow these children on the long term.
I see.
So our hope is that when the children enter the program, they change, generally speaking, their way of eating.
Yes.
Now, we have data on that in Italy, and we do have data also in UK. What's happening here in California is that a group of researchers were interested in this program, so I was granted this Fulbright grant to work with them here. And they have run a pilot, and now they do want to expand the program and study it more thoroughly.
Yeah.
But what is interesting is that the program is working. So we have a program that it's transcultural. So
Yes.
it started from UK, it works in Ireland, it works in California, or in all the states supposedly, and it works in Italy. And what is nice that in California they have mixed classes. So there are classes with Spanish families, kids from Spanish families, and the program works also with them in these mixed classes, even if we show the videos in English. So it's nice because it's something that it's close to the culture of the kids nowadays, the television culture of the kids.
Well, this just sounds like a wonderful project, and I think the long-term benefit is going to be really good for the kids in the future. And we're going to talk more about this right after this brief break. Hello, and welcome back to New Skills for Living. We're talking with Dr. Nanni Presti, specifically right now about children and obesity in the program that he and others have developed that is showing a great deal of success. So, Food Dudes, and one of the things that you're sharing with us is that it's really rather playful, which makes it attractive and easy for the children.
It is.
Can you talk with us more about
that?
Yes,
it's not a diet. I mean, diets are boring.
Yes.
I work with dietitians, and diets are boring. So we bring a play situation. They like playing. They sing the song of the Food Dudes. They play with the fruit and vegetables. I mean, they are there. They eat. They taste. And we give them rewards only for a small period of time, just to sustain this behavior.
Yes.
And in the long term, there is the self-rewarding characteristic of eating good fruit and vegetables in your mouth that will keep on that kind of behavior, will maintain that kind of behavior. But it's very joyful, and it's very important. And one thing we do address is the fact that we don't name specifically the different type of fruit or vegetables. So we don't say, for example, you have your banana, or you have your strawberry here, or your celery, because that usually restricts their behavior. They are too much focused on liking banana or liking the strawberry.
Yes.
So they are too much focused on the preference. We always speak about fruit and vegetables, so that we try to set up in the environment in such a way that if something is called fruit in their future, even if they have not tested it, but just because it's called fruit, they would like it. It's like speaking about friends. I mean, if I introduce you a friend by saying he's a friend of mine, you just have the same feeling that you have towards me just by telling he's a friend. So it's a property of language that we use it very
Yes.
carefully, and that expands also their behavior.
Yes, and the playfulness, going back to acceptance and commitment therapy, it reminds me of what Dr. Steve Hayes and Kelly Wilson talked about in their book on acceptance and commitment therapy, about getting into like transcendent experiences that go
Yeah.
beyond the verbal. And it sounds
Yes.
like implicitly you're doing that with
All that stuff is behaviorally based, and
Yeah.
sometimes people think of behaviorists as people that are that play in such a way they try to constrict
Yes.
children or other people to do something they don't like to do. But what we offer there is an experience.
Yeah.
So that act offers an experience. And if you go in that experience, or you're willing to go in that experience, you can pick up what's important for you. And in that sense, what is important for the child to
Yes.
pick up. In that sense, they like it.
Oh yeah, that's
They
wonderful.
like that experience.
That's wonderful. So Nanni, you know, we've talked about two really important challenges that children and families are facing with autism and obesity. In this last minute or so that we have, are there any final words that you'd like to share with our audience about either of those topics, or even something more general, but anything you'd like to share with them?
Oh, I would like to send them a message. And the message is that there are methods that can help you. And these methods are based on science. And they are what we call evidence-based intervention. And it's important that when you look for something for your child, either if he is autistic or has an obesity problem or whatever, you look for evidence-based intervention for people who apply what has been demonstrated effective.
Yes.
This is important
Yes.
for people, internet is full of stuff. But
Yeah, so that's a good point. So you're encouraging parents who may be watching this to make sure that the therapy in which they have their children engaging, that it be evidence-based.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we want to thank Dr. Nanni Presti for coming here
Thank you.
and sharing his wisdom with us. We want to thank you for spending time with us. And we'll see you next month as we continue